Shall we ask Nithya to say a few words? So rare that he's here anyway. Come, my dear, will you share something with us? Come. Is he on facing camera? That's good. If you want to ask him a question, if you want to complain.
One question. How do you perceive each other?
How do you perceive each other? Good one for him. Pass.
Infinity, right? Ananta.
Nithya is what? Timeless. No?
Nithya is unchanging.
Unchanging.
Nithya Shanti.
Shashwat.
Say again.
Shashwat.
Sashwat.
It is there all the time, perpetual.
Perpetual. Sorry, put you on the spot suddenly.
No, it's good. So I was meeting a friend recently in New York, and he's been doing a very intensive study of Ashtavakra Gita and Tripura Rahasya and some of these really central books of the non-dual tradition. And he has a really good mental map of how all of this works. I mean, really, like, he's been avoiding socializing. He's just been spending all his free time. In fact, I think he's even left his job now. He just does this. He was showing me the very detailed maps he's made, how everything maps out. And he was coming to me saying that, that this has become his prison. And he was so aware that even this clear mental mapping has become a prison, has become a burden for him. And so it's very similar to what you're talking about, that, just... Because I noticed this in myself as well. Like, I learn about something new, it's like, oh, I want to know all about this. Let me go and research, let me get all the books on this. And then we get fascinated by something else, oh, I want to know all about this. But then do we really, really get to know it, or are we just filling our mind with more and more concepts? So in that conversation, one of my favorite things to do is, just like you were saying, let's offload to Nithya Shanti. One of my favorite things to do is, let's open a random book. And we'll open a random page. And I love doing this, because we all know that there's no real randomness. So whenever you open a random book and a random page, it really speaks to us where we are. And this is a great example, and I invite you to try this. Open a random book, open a random page, read a random line, and it'll speak to you. You start getting a taste of how intelligent this universe is. And if it puzzles you, then that's even better. Right? That's like, then it stays with you longer. Because when you get it, it's like it's over. But when it puzzles you, it's really alive in you. It's like burning inside. What was that about? So what came up in that short, the page that we opened, is instead of thinking, practicing, and getting enlightened, how about you reverse the order? How about you decide that enlightenment is already done? Because see, if you can assume that awakening is in the future, then we can just as easily assume that awakening was in the past. I mean, why? What stops you? It's either way, it's an imagination, right? So if we can assume some, like if I come for satsang long enough, if I really sit here long enough, if I really intensely focus, something's going to happen, something's going to drop, something's going to shift, right? Which is actually an imagination of how we imagine it'll be. Because if truly we are I love this quote on this wall which says, to know even one thing is to know too much. To know even one thing is to know too much. So we have a mental concept of what awakening is supposed to be like. So the great Zen master Dogen Zenji said, don't even assume that you know whether you're enlightened or not. You may not even know. It's a powerful teaching to think about it. You may not even know. How are you so sure that you're unenlightened? What evidence do you have? Your behaviors? Well, who has ever agreed on what enlightened behavior is supposed to look like? There have been many great avadhuts who behaved like total strange, crazy people. Many of you here are fond of Ramana Maharshi. You know that where he lived, Sheshadri Swami was this kind of a deranged madman kind of person. He was famous for going into shops and smashing things in the shop. And whenever he did that, shopkeepers would step outside smiling. And people would say, what, this man is breaking up your shop, why are you smiling? Because they all know from experience, whenever he does this, it's like his way of blessing the shop. Because you think about it, it is like people who believe in Vastu and energy and all of that. What he's doing, he's noticing all the, you can call it stuck energy in the shop. And he's smashing this, and he's abusing, and he's smashing, and he walks away in a huff. And the shopkeepers are very happy, because they know that whatever they'll take to fix it, they're going to get a lot more money than that. Now, who would consider this enlightened behavior? I mean, if you didn't know this was a Swami, you would say this is a criminal, throw him behind bars. Right? So what evidence do even we have that we know? What evidence do you have that you know that you're not enlightened? Whatever evidence you'd come up with is just more mind stuff. So for me, this is a powerful teaching, right? So instead of putting enlightenment, we don't even know what that is anyway, into the future, just get it done, just put it in the past, it's over. Right? And now from that basic foundation that enlightenment is already done with, now we practice, and we still practice. It's very interesting. We still practice. You still keep coming back to whatever your practice is.
Okay, but no going to shops near my house. Okay, you can.
But practice becomes very beautiful over here, right? So, for example, I'll tell you, when I was a monk, then I came to a point in my practice where I lost all my steam. Like I had a lot of gusto. To imagine to leave corporate life and to become a monk, it takes a certain amount of gusto. I've got to get something to achieve, right? Got to achieve this, got to get it done. So I went to Thailand. I lived as a forest monk in the monastery of Thailand. Then that monastery was not good enough for me. So we don't practice enough. We're too busy. I want to go to a real meditation monastery. So I worked my way to Sri Lanka. This is a monastery where truly the teacher says, go for it. Don't worry about any duties. Just meditate morning to evening if you have to. The kind of freedom he gave was amazing. And so I said, this is it, I've come to the perfect place. I have all the time, I can skip meals if I want to, I can do whatever I want, I can just practice as much as I like. And when I went there to this dream monastery, within 3 months, I had lost all my steam. I couldn't do it anymore. I was just sitting to meditate, I couldn't meditate, I couldn't do it anymore. Completely out of steam. And at this point, I was just so helpless. I was like, until then my mind had said, if I just have that right condition, because we're always trying to calculate the right condition, right? The right place, the right condition. If I'm in that right place, all the conditions are right, then it'll happen. Because I've got this mental model of what it takes to be enlightened, right? The mental model in Buddhism is you purify your basic words and actions. At the very least, you're not hurting and harming others. That leads to a relatively calmer mind, and then you practice concentration. So things like, basic one would be aware of your breath, breathing in, breathing out. Mind wanders, bring it back. With a concentrated mind, reality appears more clearly than to a very fluctuating mind. That's the mental model, right? So the mind is clearer. And then you can perceive the characteristics of reality. And the Buddha talks about the tilakkana, 3 characteristics. One is everything changes. That which arises passes away. It's unsatisfactory. No matter what you hold on to, it doesn't really satisfy you fully. So it's unsatisfactory. It's called dukkha. And the third one is it is essenceless. It is without abiding central entity that you would call self, called anatta in the Buddha's teachings. So I had my mental map that this is what it takes, right? And I come to this monastery and I'm practicing and I'm completely out of steam. And I really felt helpless. And I said, what is it? Is something wrong with me? Because I can't find anything wrong with the place anymore. Until now, I could have said, okay, this person or this situation. I mean, the thing, if you want to meditate all day, you meditate all day. If you want to read all day, you read all day. No one's telling me anything. It's such a conducive place. I can't even find fault with anybody anymore. So at this point, life got me to a corner where I just had to say, I really don't know. I got into this strange place. So then I found in the library a book on a very unique form of Buddhism called Pure Land Buddhism. And Pure Land Buddhism is a bhakti form of Buddhism. Normally when we think of the Buddha's teaching, it's a very wisdom approach. And he's known to say that, I can just point the way, you have to walk. I'm not going to walk for you. You have to, I point the way. The Buddhas point the way, you have to walk. But in Pure Land Buddhism, they say Buddhas are actually infinitely compassionate. And if you think of them, then there's one particular Buddha called Amitabha Buddha. He will liberate you. Now in that place where nothing was working, I thought, okay, there is an Amitabha Buddha. Please, I don't think I can do this anymore. So I began chanting. I felt a little guilty about it because this is Mahayana Buddhism. I was in a Theravada monastery. And this is Mahayana teaching. This is a teaching which is supposed to be latter Buddhism. Which until then I said, that all came after the Buddha's life. So these are people, think the addition that people have made. So part of me is feeling guilty about doing it, and a part of me is feeling very relaxed about doing it. Okay, somebody's taking care of it. I can't do it anymore. And yet I began to see all of this, a relaxation happen, because I think we have this wisdom path and we have this bhakti path. Path of, I'm going to do it. What Ramakrishna Paramahansa said is like a baby monkey holding on to a mother's back. Or hold on really tight because the monkey is jumping from place to place. And the other version is the kitten who just says meow. And the mother comes and picks it from the nape of the neck, takes it wherever it has to go. So I began to shift from this monkey mindset that I'm going to do this to realizing I can't do this. And I came to the kitten mindset. But I found even within Pure Land there are different subtleties. So one says, as long as you chant and chant and chant, you shall be liberated. There's still a sense that I've got to chant. And that the idea is at the end of your life, at the moment of death, if you remember Amitabha Buddha, then you're done. It's like you're taken to the Pure Land, and that's like the manifest version of enlightenment. Basically, that's an enlightened realm. But then will you be able to do it at the time of your death? So I found there's another version of it called the true Pure Land teaching. The true Pure Land teaching says that the moment you hear Amitabha Buddha's name, and there is connection, they call it Shinjin, it is done. And now for the rest of your life you practice, but not practice to please him or to get into correspondence with him. You practice out of gratitude. This is beautiful. So now we're practicing out of gratitude. We're still practicing, but no more to attain anything. We're practicing out of so thankful. What a beautiful shift. This is exactly what you talked about, right? So instead of putting enlightenment into the future, put enlightenment into the past. It's a done deal. In Buddhism, we have this concept of the Buddha mind. We have this, our true nature, you could say. Right? So in Pure Land Buddhism, there's a very beautiful concept. It's called Bombu. Bombu. So we say Bodhi mind and Bombu mind. What is Bombu mind? Bombu mind is be a foolish person. So I love this. Be foolish. So don't try to, we have this mental concept, at least I definitely had, of what a saint is supposed to be like, what an enlightened being is supposed to be like, how aware they are, how everything they do is so clean and pure. And Bombu is accept your failing, accept how vulnerable you are, accept how broken you are. Accept it. So instead of trying to fix this mess, this is it. This is it. I am this total broken mess. This is who I am. Right? And in that full acceptance of it and say, I can't do anything about it. This is it. This is the mess that I am. In that moment, grace arises. So like the kitten, when you completely surrender and say, I can't do this anymore, that's what, who would have expected? In that place, there would be grace. And so, what is it like to be done with it? Just like you have no evidence that you aren't already enlightened. You have no evidence, you don't even know what enlightenment is. The more we ask these questions, the more confusing it gets. So let's put it in the past and be done with it. And now whatever we do, we just do it. Because now for the first time it's become goalless. Until now it was still a little bit, but now am I in the right direction? Is it, help me, correct me. But now it's goalless practice. So in the Zen tradition, which also follows a similar approach, they call one of the words for meditation is shikantaza. Shikantaza means just sitting. So you ask the teacher, okay, after I sit, what should I do? And you just sit. No, but what am I supposed to watch the breath? Am I supposed to visualize something? Just sit. Okay, after I sit, what will happen? You just sit. And at the most they'll say is that sit in a dignified position. Sit in a dignified position. So when sitting, just sit. When walking, just walk. When eating, just eat. So it's goalless. So the Westerners are really good at breaking things down. So Zen master just sit, and then people are all confused. So one person on YouTube put a nice video explaining what exactly happens. What does it mean? And all he said was, I love this phrase he used. He said, when you sit there, make a decision that you will not try to control your experience. As simple as that. So if thoughts are coming, let thoughts come. Feelings are coming, let feelings come. Clarity is coming, let clarity come. Confusion is coming, let confusion come. Sleepiness is coming, let sleepiness come. Let everything come. Right. And this whole idea of what is a good meditation, what is a bad meditation, what is a good satsang, what is a bad satsang. When am I on track? Last few weeks have been really good. Why? Because you've been getting certain feelings. And you imagine those feelings are, oh, this is taking me closer to who I am. This is the scent of my true nature. Just another concept. Right? How do you know? So shikantaza, just sitting, or the jinshin of the Pure Land tradition, it's done. Right? Put enlightenment first, and then practice, and now whatever thoughts and action that will come out of that, let them come out of that. Just see what happens when you just reverse this. And it's not such a big mental thing to reverse it. You just literally just done. It's a done deal. And of course, all your old patterns will say, no, it's not. Look at me. I'm a mess. You know. But what were you expecting? That you're ever going to clean this mess up? You really think so? Isn't that more spiritual materialism? Look how shiny I've become. Like one Zen monk looks at the other and say, are you not thinking what I'm not thinking? So let's just take a moment to tune in and just say, whatever you're doing, just sitting there. And embracing our bombu nature, embracing our foolish nature.
Can you say something more on past enlightenment?
Yeah, we'll come to that. Just be with yourself now, in this moment. And every one of us here consider a fish that's been taken out of the ocean, just taken out of the ocean. Watch it twitching, thirsting, writhing. That fish is out of its environment. And consider that the mind is that fish. You are already that. each one of you here. It's no mistake that you're here this evening. And the tossing and turning of the mind is just the last few breaths of this fish. Just be patient with it. You can even have compassion towards it. And let the mind do its mind thing. Let everything do its own thing. For once in your life, stop trying to manipulate your experience. Stop trying to direct your experience. And I'm going to give you my favorite mantra these days. I'm going to give you a partial mantra. You're going to fill in the blanks for yourself. It goes like this. I'm not fooled. This is. And then you fill in the blanks with your own favorite word. So for example, I'm not fooled. This is God. I'm not fooled. This is a mystery. I'm not fooled. This is magic. I'm not fooled. This is beautiful. I'm not fooled. This is temporary. You can insert any word, any concept, whatever is for you, as close as possible to stepping out of the matrix. Whatever word or concept gets you as close as possible, just use that. And so go ahead, everyone, just choose one way to fill in the blanks for this. I'm not fooled, this is, and find your own one. And now apply this mantra to any experience, outer sound, sight, event, inner memory, thought, experience, anything at all. Even doubts that arise, even questions that arise, anything. I'm not fooled, this is, fill in the blanks. And each time pause for a moment, really experience the change in perception. And of course, at some point, the mantra is not required anymore. It's required until it's not required. And let everything come to rest. Let everything just be the way it is. Let's just assume that every atom in the entire universe is in the right place. Including the one that seems to be in the wrong place, is also in the right place. Very nice. We can all take a nice deep breath. Beautiful. Good fun.
Hey, beautiful.
Yes. Can we have some examples of how you filled in the blanks? What was yours?
Unknown.
I'm not fooled, this is unknown. Lovely. How about you?
It's all my Guru's grace.
Lovely. I'm not fooled, it's all my Guru's grace. I love that.
I'm not fooled, this is the truth.
This is the truth.
I'm not true. I'm not fooled. This is diamond. Diamond.
Diamond, yeah.
Diamond. I'm just beautiful.
How about you?
It is my truth.
It is my truth.
My truth.
I'm not fooled, this is my truth. Very interesting.
This is God.
This is God, yes. Great. What was yours?
You've given me a diamond mind to work for in the next few days. Started with so many thoughts started coming. All this back pain, my financial worries. All this is perfect.
Wow.
The items which are not in order are all in order. That is perfect. Now we have to go for a satsang. Time is looking, and they are going to feel why he is late. That's perfect. I started feeling, no, I got it. I have to pay him like anything.
Good fun.
So mine was, I'm not fool, this is Guru Kripa Kevalam.
Guru Kripa ke?
Kevalam.
Kevalam.
Yeah,
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Lovely, yeah.
Where is your meeting?
Not a resistance.
Guru of
Lot of resistance to it.
To say that I'm not fooled, this is the truth.
Yeah. You could see the magnetism, right?
Just resist and the magnet, but you are being fooled. You know you're lying. Don't do what you're doing. It's like,
Lovely.
so,
Good. That's great. A fun one will be, I'm not fooled, I am fooled. That will really set the mind for a toss. All right, thank you for having me.
it was beautiful.
Beautiful, lovely.
Thank you so much for coming, my dear. And, beautiful time together. Hope you'll come every time you come.
Why not?
back.
Wonderful.
Don't feel to let you go.
No, I have deep affinities with Bhagwan Raman Maharshi and Papaji. And I haven't met Muji, but definitely everything that I love one of his videos on YouTube where he says the best mantra is thank you. I tell a lot of you that's the best mantra. Right, keep repeating that. Keep saying thank you again and again. But that's what just washes away everything else. Keep saying thank you, whatever. That's like you were saying, right? I'm not fooled, it's Guru Kripa. Thank you. This is given. Life is, Byron Katie says, life is not happening to me, it's happening for me. Because once you've made that deep intention that I really want to wake up, life listens to that. Then everything is happening precisely, like it's precisely sent to chip off something from the block. So now don't say don't do this now, bring it on. Right? This is the attitude of a spiritual warrior. Bring it on. Whatever has to come. Whatever the mind has to do. With dying fish, remember the dying fish example? It's dying, it's in the death throe. That's the answer to your question about what does it mean to put enlightenment in the past. Like it's a done deal. Now whatever is going to happen, this is just the last little remnants. Let it work itself out. But with my father I had built a model plane which had this, the propeller had to be rotated. It had a rubber band. And as you rotate, it'll gather some potential energy, and you throw it and bzzz, it'll spin and it'll fly. But how long will it fly? So it'll fly for a few meters and it'll stop. Right. So for centuries, for lifetime, who knows, we've been rotating this. So now that you're letting it go, it's going to all the stuff is going to start coming out very fast, right? Take that as evidence that now it's coming to an end. Take that as evidence for it. Not the evidence of the opposite, oh I'm really messed up. No, this is coming to the end. We first wake up to how unawake we are. That's the process. To be awake to your unawakeness is an awakeness. Right? The fact that you're here and you think, oh my goodness, how messed up it is. This is an awakeness. Right? So it's the death throes of the fish. Beautiful. How wonderful. Chale, very good.
Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai.
Sadguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.
Guru Kripa Kevalam. Just say bye to everyone online as well.
So many happy faces. Oh, there's Jesh over there. Hi Krishna, Jesh. I'm not fooled, it's all grace. I'm not fooled, this is peace. I'm not fooled, it's done. I love that.
What is the name of the guest? Is Shri Nithya Shanti.
Shri.
Shri Nithya.
At least 3 Shris minimum.
Shri.
What's the concept of the 2 Shris?
No, he's just kidding.
She is fooled.
No, but there is Shri, Ravi.
He has to go to his next meeting. That's a long story.
You have to Shri each other out. The longer, the more Shris you have.
Less fool you are. The more she is, the less fool.